It's 12-Sided Guys time. We have Matt playing Pine the Swordsman.
Hi.
Scott playing Roos the Bounty Hunter.
That's me.
Jordan playing Ebby the Robot.
Salutations, Robot.
Sabrina playing Nari the axe-wielding She-Hulk.
Hey there.
And me, Paul, playing the sadistic Dungeon Master. Sup. Welcome back to our continuing adventure in the world of Pavantis. If you want to learn more about Pavantis and hear some extra content, or maybe check out my DM notes in the form of a wiki, you can become a patron by going to patreon.com/12sided guys. That's 12-sided guys. There's a couple of different options on there, and even if you just want to show us some love, maybe buy us a family-sized Papa Murphy's pizza, you can do that too. Speaking of showing some love, shout out to our patron Daniel. Daniel, I love you. And if your idea of a romantic love story involves a white mage archer and a paladin whose dad is from the moon, then this podcast is for you. It's the Crystal Codex, episode 12.
Point of order, Paul. He's from the second moon.
Oh, gosh, they still call it the moon. His dad is a Lunarian. Yes, sorry, his dad is a Lunarian.
Is his brother Fusoya?
No, his brother is
his
Golbez.
uncle.
Yeah.
No. His uncle. So I'm saying the Cecil's dad's brother is Fusoya.
That's right.
Okay.
And his dad's name is Kluya.
That's right.
That's right.
I may or may not have just watched a review thing on Final Fantasy II just recently.
That's awesome.
I dug in really deep when I was writing the description for the random saved game, just making sure that it was the watery pass. You know, because I always remember it as the watery passage, but it's the watery pass. So
honestly, watery pass sounds like a medical condition
I know.
that has happened.
Oh, man. All right. Okay. Deep under the earth, in the ancient facility beneath Moshe's shrine, in a room with multicolored tiles, we find Nari and the boys relaxing and recovering from a fierce battle, as well as from a very tense interrogation of Chancellor Ramsey. As we look around the room, we see Roos with a paper and quill scratching out a letter.
Teagish. I've been in Arkelvy for a few weeks now, and quite a bit has transpired in my short search for the heir. I question your choice on putting me on this assignment, but I trust your judgment. I made contact with Fallen Heaven and embedded myself into a small group working for them. They're not quite associated with them, but they're working for them. This may take some time, but I confronted the leader of the local cell of Fallen Heaven, and although she refused to give me any concrete information, by a crystal's glow, I swear she knows where and who the heir is. When we spoke, you mentioned this assignment may last a month or perhaps 2, but as I've gotten involved with it, I believe it may run longer than that. While helping Fallen Heaven to win their trust, I helped kill an adjudicator, and we captured Chancellor Ramsey. Now we are en route to reconvene with Fallen Heaven and deliver Chancellor Ramsey to them. My plan is to barter Ramsey for more information about the whereabouts on this heir. I'll write you again when I have more information. Roos.
Okay. Everyone kind of comes to, wakes up, riles themselves up a little bit from their rest and relaxation. You guys have now had a long rest, and I realize we may not have said this last episode. I think we said it in our bonus episode, but you guys are now level 5.
Woohoo!
So we'll count this as level 5 with a long rest. So consider yourselves pretty much right back to full health. I believe everyone's exhaustion levels are gone except for Chancellor Ramsey, who is groggily waking up on the floor, still with a bag over his head, his legs manacled together, and his hand, I believe, still tied down to that manacle. He is not awake yet, but he is starting to move and rustle a little bit.
Before he gets up too much, I would love to put a gag around him as well.
Okay.
I'm being that he's a spellcaster, I'm worried about him being able to do things even if he doesn't have his focus or his book.
Okay. Yeah, you ask Roos and he pulls out a ball gag, no problem. No questions asked.
Yeah, I keep one in my pocket.
Okay, as you take the gag and not the ball gag, sorry, the piece of fabric, you tie it around his mouth, you get in there nice and tight. He, you kind of have to pull the mask up. You can tell that he rouses and he kind of starts to squirm and fight a little bit. And you get the rag around his mouth and he gives up. He gives up and he just kind of calmly lays back down. You hear a little bit of a and then he's quiet and still.
Well, I believe it's time for us to head out. Which way should we take? If we go, remind us of the distances, Paul.
Yeah, okay, so we need to so here's the deal. Between sessions, I actually did some measuring instead of just going off the top of my head. So last time we talked, if you guys wanted to get down to, you need to get down to the lake. And it's Westfell Lake, which is a lake that there's a river that comes out of the mountains and it runs right along the southern edge of Tabery. In fact, that's where there was a ferry on the south side of Tabery. It goes across that river. It's called the Long River. The Long River feeds into Westfell Lake. And that's where you're supposed to meet Fallen Heaven, is on the shore of Westfell Lake. Now, to get there, last time I told you it would take a certain number of days. I actually did the measuring now on the map in between sessions. So if you were to go down from where you're at this facility and head back down through Tabery and then go to the lake, it would take you a total of 3 days. If you go to the east to kind of avoid Tabery, but maybe come into contact with possibly some of these Imperial soldiers that are out in the woods, it will take you 4 days. And if you go west around Tabery and actually go on the other side of the river, because you'd have to get on the other side of the river, it'll take you probably 5 days. So 3 days through Tabery, 4 days to the east, 5 days to the west.
I'm not sure I'm super excited about the idea of going back to Tabery. I mean, I'll do whatever we need to do, but...
Yes, it seems like going a bit close to the hornet's nest, no?
One that we just kicked.
I don't think any of us want to get stung, so let's either take the east route or the west route.
I think that the west route sounds good to me. It's the safest. It'll take a bit longer, but we don't run the risk of running into some of the Imperial patrols.
I agree. We're not on a schedule. We don't have any deadlines. Let's take our time and be cautious and safe about this.
My only concern is keeping a prisoner for that long, especially trying to keep it under wraps. Do any of you know how heavy the traffic will be going that route?
In my experience, people won't ask questions. He'll be on a leash. If anyone brings anything up, I'll show them my symbol for the Howling Talon and explain what I'm doing. Barring any Imperial encounters, I don't think we'll have a problem with anybody else.
Sounds good.
Now, Jordan, I think Ebby would probably have a pretty good idea of this area. So if you wanted to make a survival check, Ebby, make a survival check. We can see kind of what you know about each of these paths.
Yeah, let's do that. Boom. Ooh, 24.
Ooh, all right, 24. Well, this is, you actually have spent a lot of time up here in the mountains and in the forest. You know that if you were to head east, there is a path that comes down out of the mountain. However, it is also that path that kind of leads back to Tabery, but you can find other ways to get off that road. It should be fairly easy going. The concern would be running into the Imperial soldiers that are still out there somewhere. Going to the west would definitely be harder travel. A lot of it would not be on the road. And you would know that probably not necessarily close to Tabery, but for a big chunk of the traveling along the river would probably be the quickest way to do it. Like not in the river, but like on the bank of the river. And you even, with a 24, you even know of a good place to ford the river further up into the mountains where before it gets too deep and treacherous.
Perfect. So rather than me trying to paraphrase all of that to everybody, I will just have conveyed, or Abby will have conveyed that to the group then.
That sounds like a wonderful plan, Abby. You know these mountains so well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Flattery will get you everywhere.
All right. Then are you guys ready to start moving out?
Yeah, let's head west.
Well, I think we should break our fasts first and then, keep up our strength.
I think that sounds like a lovely idea. I've been contemplating a few additional conjurations with the magic that I've been learning, and I think I have the ability for us to perhaps summon some animals, some horses that we might be able to ride for a little bit. I'd have to use a few of my I'd have to drain some of my magical ability, but I could do that.
Well, that'd be wonderful. I haven't ridden in a while.
So, just so everybody knows, with our level up, I took the 3rd level spell of Conjure Animals. And so we could conjure up to, for example, we could get like 8 riding horses if we wanted to, or draft horses. Or we could get 4 war horses, which is kind of rad.
Nice.
It'd be really cool if the war horses came with like barding and everything, but they're just war horses. But yeah, that's pretty slick.
So we'd be riding bareback then?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's cool. I mean, we're heroic figures, so we can ride bareback.
And Pine's not having any more kids. All right. So you guys are having some breakfast, it sounds like, before you guys go.
Except for whoever has that one Aeon stone of not having
the
to
Aeon
eat.
stone of sustenance.
Did we decide who had that? I think we all decided that we like to eat too much.
Yeah, we all like food.
It's because we keep saying Papa Murphy's pizza and stuff, and that's why we're always like, sustenance. No, I don't. I want to eat. I don't want to have a crystal that makes me not want to eat.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I can't remember who ended up taking that one on.
I think we just stowed it in like a group inventory, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't really established what we're doing with all that stuff, but I just assumed, someone's holding it for the party.
Oh, I thought somebody was wearing the boots with the fur.
I re-listened to it. I thought Nari took the boots with the fur, but I had the apple bottom jeans.
Yes.
I thought we put the apple bottom jeans on Ramsey.
That's
right. We put them on him, but they were my apple bottom jeans.
You've got this guy who's laying there with a bag over his head. His hands are manacled to his hand is manacled to his legs, but his ass looks amazing.
So I do have the brooch of shielding though. I did end up with that.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. Okay. So here's what's going to happen. You guys are eating your breakfast, kind of getting yourselves ready for the day. We'll say, Roos, you're kind of checking on Ramsey and his bonds and everything, checking on the foot that got hurt the other day. Nari, just so you're aware, you're probably thinking you're probably have to carry this guy up those stairs to get back out to the Shrine of Moshe. Pine, you're sitting over in a corner, and as you're eating breakfast, maybe it's age catching up to you a little bit, or maybe just the excitement of the other day, but you feel your head kind of start to nod a little bit, and you kind of, you know what? Maybe you got up a little bit early, so you decide to close your eyes, and you feel yourself start to dream. And as your mind kind of gains that cloudiness that comes with dreams, where it feels very real, but it's not. And when you wake up, it's fairly obvious that it's not real. This is a little bit different. You actually, as you are drifting off to sleep, suddenly the ethereal cloud around you of this kind of dream state, suddenly light starts to shine through until you realize you're standing in a small kind of semicircular chamber. There is lantern light on the walls, magically lit light. There is a big table in front of you, and seated in 8 chairs around the back of the room, you see figures. Most of the figures are kind of wavy and faded with memory, but you recognize one of the figures sitting at the desk. You recognize Field Marshal Koenig. And at this point, you know exactly where you are. You are in the tribunal during the Imperial War against Menarest when Lieutenant General Pine was relieved of his command.
Do I feel the pain from the recent injuries?
Make a perception check.
Okay, Pine rolled a 9.
A 9. You don't feel the pain. You are standing just as you did at that moment. You have a cane in your hand, and your eyes lock on to Field Marshal Koenig's eyes. Field Marshal Koenig, at this point in time, this is 15 years ago, he's already an old man. In fact, he is as old in this memory as you are now, Pine. You see his hair has turned a kind of a gray. He's got kind of rounded ears, kind of like a tiger's ears. And you know that they used to be vibrant and auburn, and his hair was very fiery, but now it's all faded to gray, just like his beard. But his eyes are still have that twinkle of blue, intelligence and life and vitality. And you realize what's happening in your dream at this moment. This is the moment where you turn on your heel and you leave the room. And at this point, you have no control over yourself. You leave the room. You can remember the emotions that you were feeling. What emotions was Pine feeling at this moment in time?
Pine felt extremely weak. So you mentioned that he had his cane with him. He actually had left it out in the hallway because he didn't want to be seen as weak. So he actually did his best not to limp into the room. So he's already at this point, as he's leaving, he's already stumbled in front of them.
Pine, look down at your cane. It is in your hands. And as you look at your cane, you see notches and dings and wear and tear on this cane. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you know this is not right. You know that up until this point, you had never used a cane in your life. And the cane that was presented to you when you woke up in that hospital was brand new and in perfect condition. This cane that you have in your hands that you did have in the tribunal just now, it is the cane that you've been carrying in the campaign so far, that you've been using as a shield.
Okay. I look at my clothing. You said I'm turning. I'm already walking out. I try to pay attention to my clothing. Does it look like my old uniform or what I have done to it in the years since?
It looks like your old uniform, but as you look at your hands and at your cane, you see age spots on your hands that you know weren't there 15 years ago.
Okay.
And you can't control where you go. And it's one of those things where you start to walk in a direction and suddenly you're there and you are in the kind of the waiting room, the dressing room where you had been waiting to go in for your tribunal and where you retired afterwards. It's just a small, maybe 15 feet by 15 foot room. You have some of your belongings there. There is a desk and a chair, and you are sitting there. And like you said, you felt weak, and you hear a knock on the door. And you hear a voice, and it's an attendant. And the attendant says, "Lieutenant General Pine, Field Marshal Koenig would like to speak with you." Now, Pine, do you remember what you said after the tribunal when Field Marshal Koenig wanted to speak with you?
I do remember what I said. Pine told the attendant that the field marshal had just told him to retire and go back to his family, and that's what he intended to do. And so he did not go in to see Field Marshal Koenig. He left and never saw him again.
You feel yourself, you know that's what you said, but the words that come out of your mouth are, "Show him in, please." And suddenly, Pine, you are sitting there, and the door opens, and in walks this old man with gray hair and beard, gray ears up on top of his head, kind of laying back with age and fatigue. And he looks older than he ever has. And he comes in, and he sits on the bench next to you. Now, at this point, Pine realizes this is a dream, but it's more than a dream. Is there anything Pine wants to say to Field Marshal Koenig? If not, there's plenty that Field Marshal Koenig wants to say to Pine.
I think the first things out of his mouth would be, Field Marshal, sir, I regret not speaking with you the last time I had the chance.
He listens to what you have to say, and he's not making eye contact. He kind of bows his head and nods it slowly. And he looks over at you and he says, all in the past, all in the past. And he says, Lieutenant General Temrid Pine retired. That has an odd ring to it. I thought surely my days of waging war would end long before yours. I mean, look at you. You're still in your prime.
You're too kind, but it's obvious that my time for soldiering has passed.
And he says, well, I don't know about that. He says, Pine, I'm sorry that I did not stand up for you as much as I should have during the tribunal. Laying what happened at Redleaf at your feet is not accurate, and more importantly, it's not fair. He says, you have always been an invaluable advisor, a trusted subordinate, and a true friend. You've protected me from enemies all these years, and now I'll do my best to return the favor. He puts his hand on your hand. He looks you in the eye. He gives you a wink, and then he stands up and turns around to leave.
Field Marshal.
He turns back around.
There is still life in me. There is still some good I can do. Even though I'm no longer with the military, no longer fighting for Menarest, I continue to fight against the Empire. I hope you know that.
He nods and he says, oh, I know. And so do I. And then he turns, and as he walks out, you see he is wearing his field marshal's jacket, which is very similar to yours. It's blue. He's got the short cape on the back. It's white, I believe, with gold trim around the edges. He is the highest ranking military officer in the entire Menarest army. You see strapped across his back is his very long estoc, which is basically like a greatsword, but it's pointed. It's a thin blade, and it's pointed. It's designed for thrusting and for piercing, not for slashing. And as he puts his hand on the door and opens the door and walks out, suddenly your dream fades and you come to yourself. And you are still in the ancient facility beneath Lord Moshe's shrine.
I think Pine wipes some tears and stands up. Yes, everyone. I believe it's time we set out.
All right. Well, how do you guys want to get out of here? You guys have the passageway that leads back to the spiral staircase back up to Lord Moshe's shrine. You have a tied up chancellor with an injured foot, as well as exhausted, and a bag over his head. So you guys tell me what you want to do.
I mean, I can easily carry the chancellor either way.
Okay.
Yeah, my vote would be to head up the stairs.
Yeah, probably better than going back through the facility and going to where the Fallen Heaven camp was, where there's probably like 60 or so guards waiting.
Wisdom.
Abby, would you like to do you think we should leave the crystals in the first statue so we know where they are if we have to come back here for any reason?
Exactly. I was actually just thinking that. Ebby's going to walk over and deposit those crystals back in the statue to the east side of the room.
The one that looks more like the kind of the bird creature?
Yeah.
Perfect.
The one that will not open the passageway.
Perfect. All right. Awesome. All right. Then you guys gather up your things and...
Wait. What if you have to like put it in multiple times to open up the other secret passageway? I'm kidding. Pine just really wants another secret passageway.
You guys spend 10 minutes picking them up, putting them down, picking them up, putting them down, putting down the red ones first, and then the green ones, and all this.
Maybe it's
then nothing
24
happened.
times. Yeah.
Ebby's going to walk around the room and poke at the wall until he finds a part that sounds different.
Yeah, I think Pine already tried that. You
I
guys
did.
are all 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42, something like that.
Oh, good old Lost.
Okay. I wasn't sure if anyone would get that one. Okay. Awesome. Okay, yeah, no more secret passages.
Okay. Should we take the same marching order? I can go up first, scout it out, since I can see in the dark, and then the rest of you can follow.
That's fine. I want to stay close to our friend here. We gotta think of a name to call him while we're traveling. I don't want to call him Ramsey. Don't want to call him the Chancellor. Anybody have a good nickname for the guy?
Apple Bottom.
That's oddly fitting. All right. From here on out, while we're traveling, he's Apple Bottom until we deliver him to fallen heaven.
Oh my gosh, that's so perfect. Oh, you guys could have called him like Flow Rider or something like that.
Oh,
That's all good. All right, very good. Okay, so you march out, I'm guessing carefully and slowly, out the hallway. You go up into the staircase. You march around the staircase. It is, Nari, you're tough. I mean, I don't know what your strength score is, but it's high. But still, after a while, it starts to kind of wear on you, but you're fine. You can handle it. No exhaustion or anything. But you are climbing the steps. I mean, it takes you like 10 minutes to get down. It takes you like 12 or 13 minutes to get back up of straight climbing. And anyone who's done the stair stepper for that long knows that'll work up a sweat. But eventually you get to the top. Pine, you see the lever that opens up the tree planter apparatus.
I'm to the top. I'm going to open the passageway. Everybody be ready. Who knows who could be in the shrine? So I'll do that. I'll carefully open it and then try to, as quietly as possible, swing the door open.
All right. As you pull the lever, and then you can, it just moves like just very easily. You just kind of put your hands on it, and just the friction of your fingertips is able to actually get it to start moving until you can get a finger up in the gap that it creates, and you push it over to the side, and sun starts shining down and through, and you are in Lord Moshe's shrine. There is birds tweeting in the sky. There's some clouds. As you look around, I want Ebby to make a survival check.
You got it. Let's go ahead and check on that.
Everybody else can make perception checks.
Ebby rolled a 12.
Okay.
Pine rolled a 23 for his perception check.
Okay.
That's nat 20.
Ooh,
nice. Nari got an 18.
Okay.
And Roos got a 7.
Oh, fantastic. Roos, you are just transfixed by these apple bottom jeans in your face.
Happens to the best of us, my man.
Yeah, not much I can do.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so, Ebby, you step out. You look up in the sky. You look around. You see kind of just the normal wildlife that you would expect to be around at this time. There's some birds that you see that are coming down out of the mountains heading south. You see wisps of clouds going by. It is a cold day, but it's one of those days again where it's so sunny that it's hard to tell that it's fall. Pine, as you look around with your 23 perception, you see in the distance to the, I guess it'd be to the west, the northwest, coming down off the mountains, you see clouds. You see big, heavy clouds like starting to accumulate there in the mountains. And your guess would be it's going to start to rain here soon, and it might be a pretty nasty storm. Other than that, Lord Moshe's shrine looks just how you had left it. Still some bloodstains on the stones from when you guys fought the gobloids and the hobloids and the bogloid. Ebby, you would know that if you want to get to the ford, to get across the river, then you would head west. Basically, if you recall, Lord Moshe's shrine had it was kind of at this T intersection of the road where it kept going further north into the mountains, or it went south back down to Tabery. And then there is an offshoot that heads off to the west and then back down into the forest. And you would know that if you followed that little path going to the west, it would eventually take you to the point where you can go across the ford.
Perfect. I'll relay that to the broader group. And then Ebby, you'll also say, should I conjure us some horses so that way we can ride?
Well, yes, if you think we can outrun that storm.
Oh, That does look rather imposing off that way. Well, I suppose it can't hurt. We'll try to put as much distance as we can.
Sounds good. I worry if the storm comes before we arrive at the ford, it may be rougher than you anticipate.
This is very true. Quick question for Paul.
Yeah.
If we were to ride on these horses and just abuse the crud out of them, just like gallop and ride them as hard as we can until the magic fades after an hour, how much do you think we could get to that fording spot within an hour? I
think you could get relatively close. Yeah, I'd say if you rode them hard for an hour, you would probably be about another hour from the ford. So you would basically make double or triple time.
Okay. Well, I think let's ride as hard as we can, and we'll get close to the fording section. Hopefully the weather won't have turned on us by that time.
Sounds like a plan.
Let's do it.
Bring on the horses.
Yeehaw.
As Ebby is summoning the horses, Roos will turn to Ramsey and say, "All right, Applebottom, if you're good today, I'll give you dinner."
You hear a
He sounds hungry.
That's all he can do because he's got a gag in his mouth.
Roos will pat him on the shoulder and nod his head.
Okay.
I feel like Ebby wants to lean in close to him and say, "The safety word is mango."
No.
Oh god! I was gonna say he's been saying cacao for a long time.
That's funny.
Oh my God.
Mine has always been trombone.
Trombone. I mean, but isn't the point that it's supposed to be something you're not going to say? In the heat of the
I know
moment.
it's led to a lot of confusion.
Oh my god! Okay, so anyway, what's our rating again on this podcast? Okay, so are you doing the riding horses or are you doing the war horse?
I think the war horses are probably stronger, my guess would be, especially for charging like this. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I guess
you would have.
Can I make like?
We'll have to double up, right? We're gonna have to put Applebottom on the horse with somebody else if we do the 4 war horses.
I was going to suggest the same thing.
Okay, well, let's see here. You would know, Ebby, that as far as a riding horse versus a war horse, they're the same speed. And I mean, a riding horse is plenty strong if you wanted to strap him on to that horse. And then you guys could ride on your own. I mean, the war horse, for straight up travel, I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. It might be overkill.
It's probably overkill. Let's conjure 5 riding horses then. I know that I can conjure, I think, up to 8, but we don't need that many. So we'll just get 5.
But you don't want to have like a majestic herd of horses.
I want
Just
some
a few
horse
spares.
centennials like riding around us.
I want to ride 2 of them at the same time.
I'm picturing the horses exactly like your sexy unicorn, and instead of us riding on their backs, they're just carrying us and running
as they gallop, like just as they skip.
Yeah, they're doing
through
the
the
galloping
woods.
like in PE, like you did when you were in elementary school.
Exactly. But they're just carrying us in their arms.
Okay. All right. You guys mount up on these horses. You manage to strap down Ramsey. He is surprisingly, he's being very helpful. He's not fighting. He's not thrashing, nothing like that. You tie him onto one of these horses, and Ebby, you lead the way. You start just galloping as hard as you can down this mountainside, man from Snowy River style. No, not quite that bad. You're on a road, but yeah, you start galloping for an hour. And as you are riding really hard, you guys can't help but notice that, yes, the clouds are building and building. Ebby, your best guess is that thanks to the horses, you will probably make it to the ford before the rain starts. And then if you don't, and if it starts to flood, that would be a very difficult and dangerous crossing.
Got it.
So I just need, I'm going to be a butthead. Ebby, why don't you make a, oh gosh, what kind of check would that be? Let's just make a straight intelligence check.
Alrighty, let's do that. I do not have actually very great intelligence.
What? Wisdom is what you use for your spellcasting. Let you do wisdom.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, but you're a robot. Isn't your brain like a TI 95 or something like that?
Surprisingly simple, though. Very simple-minded.
It's like a Casio watch.
I was going to say, yeah, it's like a TI 85.
Oh, okay.
Is what So Ebby rolled a 12 on his wisdom check.
Okay, I was going to be a butthead and say you lost track of time and all of a sudden you're galloping along and the horses disappear out from underneath you. But that was, anyway. You rolled high enough that you were aware, oh, crap, we better get off these horses before they disappear because they are starting to fade. You rein in the horses or pull back on their manes or whatever. I mean, you're riding bareback. I don't know how you're controlling them, but you're Ebby, so you can talk to them and understand what they're thinking. You slow down, you get everybody off the horses just as they begin to fade.
So long, Chester. I named mine Chester.
You sure did.
You're not supposed to name them.
Chester might be back. Chester may be back. Let's see if this spell ever gets cast again. All right. And you're now on foot. So you have about an hour of walking before Ebby. You're fairly certain that's when you will get to the ford. What is the marching order again? If you want to just clue me in as well as all of the people listening.
Should Ebby take the lead for now, I guess, while we're out and about in the wild?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. As when we get off the horses, Roos is going to tie a rope around his waist and tie the other end of it to Applebottom's waist.
So we're taking the manacles off of his legs.
No. He's still manacled.
Oh, so he's just like
He's shuffling.
Okay.
So you're tied to Ramsey, and Ramsey's being still carried by Sabrina or by.
And I'll explain my thought as we're walking. I'll tell everybody when we're fording this river. Worst case scenario, he gets taken down river, and well, one of us has got to be there to save him. So,
Okay, Pine will take up the rear then, just with Ebby in front leading the way. If he somehow gets out and tries to make a run for it, Pine will be there ready with his hand on his sword the whole time.
All right. Well, very good. Okay, you hike through these woods. You see that there's a lot of evergreen trees up here, but there's also a lot of deciduous trees, lots of multicolored leaves, lots of bare trees already. There's leaves blowing across the path. It's been relatively dry for the last couple of days, so it's not that muddy, but it looks like it's going to start raining here very soon. And after about an hour or an hour and 20 minutes, you come around a corner and it kind of opens up into this view of the river. So where you're at in the river, the ford, when you approach the river, you're kind of up on a little bit of a rise, and the path you're on goes right down to the bank of the river. And you can see that there's a place where the bank of the river is kind of lower than the rest of it. And that is the ford. It goes straight across the river and then it climbs the other side of the bank. And Ebby, you have done this before. You know that the actual ford itself, the actual safe place to walk across is quite narrow. So you will probably have to go across single file or risk dropping in the drink.
So we've already done some Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I am on the lookout for Will Scarlet and Little John.
Oh man, the only thing I could think of was You've Got Balls of Solid Rock.
There was a rich man from Nottingham. Isn't that the song that he sang?
Oh
Exactly.
Gosh. All right, you guys. Okay. So you are approaching this ford. Why don't you guys make perception checks? Let's have you guys do a perception check with one person make it with advantage.
I think. I think that Nari, you did some special training in perception, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm pretty perceptive. I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I rolled a 22.
Oh gosh. All right. As you guys are approaching the ford, you guys don't quite get down into the water when Nari suddenly, off to your left, you hear a noise in the bushes. And as you glance over to the side, you can't help but you see something large moving in the bushes on this side of the river, but off to your left. And as you look over, sorry, what?
Oh, I was just going to say, I'll kind of shout, "Who's there?" and turn towards it.
Okay. You turn towards it, and as you look, you see what looks like a very large shape of a large cat. It
It looks like a sweet coon.
It is big. It is like the size of a lion or a tiger. It's got spots on its skin. It has these big, long whiskers that come down and kind of flap in the air by its head. And like it has like long ears on its head. Nari, why don't you make a quick survival check?
All right, I got a 16.
It is a Suicune.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's a Pokemon.
Oh no, this is not a Suicune. You recognize this? This is a red panther. You live up in the mountains, and sometimes these like packs of red panthers will harass people moving to the mountains, especially small groups. You don't usually expect them this far out of the mountains, but there is a red panther. You would know it anywhere. So 2 things you get from your 16. 1, this is a red panther. 2, they usually move in packs. So here's what we'll do. We are going to roll initiative, and we'll go from there.
And I don't have any special knowledge of like what scares them or, making yourself big.
So I know that we're going to be entering initiative.
Yes.
But I think my hope is that Ebby can start talking to these things and see if he can't get them to like kind of steer clear of us,
Right.
Kind of like what you see people do when they encounter bears in the woods, where they're like, "Hey bear, hey bear."
Yeah. Oh bear, oh bear, oh bear, oh bear.
Announce your presence.
Does that work though?
Oh, it works for black bears, not for brown bears.
Okay, so Pine rolled an 18.
Okay.
Ebby got an 11.
Roos got a 15.
Nari got a 15 too.
Nari got a 15. All right, let me add Nari to
Awesome,
this
guys.
list.
We are continuing the streak of matching an initiative roll every fight.
The enemy looks vaguely like a Coeral from Final Fantasy.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, so now nobody is surprised because Nari let it be known that something was in the bushes real quick. So Pine, you get to act first. I want you to make a perception check.
Pine rolled a 14.
Okay, Pine, as you quickly glance around, you don't see what she is talking about, but you do see that behind you and off to the right, you see another one of these red panthers.
Well,
Like it was stalking up behind you.
Okay. Well, then Pine will say, "There's one over here. You get. And I will draw my saber, and I'm going to ready an attack. If it closes with me, I will attack it.
Okay, sounds good. All right. That brings us now to Roos.
Roos is going to nudge Nari and say, "Drop apple bottom. I'll stand guard on him, and I'm going to ready a dagger to throw if one of them approaches the party."
Okay. All right. And Nari, it's your turn.
So I will drop apple bottom. And then I'm going to just kind of try to make myself loud and just say, "Hey, get out of here." But I will pull out one of my hand axes and be ready to throw them if the creatures make a move towards me.
Okay. So it sounds like what we've got Roos has a dagger ready to throw as an action. Pine has his sword ready to attack as an action. And Nari has a throwing axe ready to throw it if something comes towards you guys. Lots of prepared
Paul,
actions.
do you want to say that again, but say reaction?
As a reaction. Okay, so as a reaction, everybody has a readied attacks as their reactions so far. So we have Pine's ready to react with a sword swipe, and Roos is ready to throw a dagger as a reaction, and Nari is ready to throw a hand axe as a reaction. That brings us now to the alpha. All right. From the kind of ahead of you and off to the right, you suddenly hear this thrashing in the trees, and this it's not so much like one size bigger. than the other ones, but it is definitely a larger red panther comes bounding through the trees, leaps up over the cliff, kind of the bank, and comes rushing right at the very easy prey of Applebottom sitting on his butt in the dirt. And he is going to bite at Applebottom. And I believe that's a miss.
Shouldn't there be a dagger and an axe in his face?
That's for you guys to decide.
Yeah.
So he's part of your party? Okay, why don't you guys, let's see a dagger throw and an axe throw.
Roos got a 26 to hit.
Okay.
Nari got a 16 to hit.
You both hit. Why don't you guys roll some damage?
Roos got an 8.
An 8, okay.
And Nari got a 9.
Nari got a 9. Okay, just like that, he gets hit with some serious damage. And let's see. So he tried this red panther tried to bite at Applebottom and managed to miss. But here comes the claw.
Did you just quote "liar, liar"? Here comes the claw.
Here comes the claw. You're afraid of the claw. All right. So it looks like Applebottom does get hit one time with a claw, and he is going to take. Looks like 5 damage. All right, 5 damage to Applebottom. And that brings us now to next in line, who would be Ebby.
Alrighty then.
Another
Oh my gosh.
We're just feeling it tonight, guys. That's all. I should have had a better idea before I started this turn. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is actually use 2nd level spell slot and summon an apparition beast of Lord Moshe, one of the land ones. So basically summon a bestial spirit to come and fight with us.
Okay.
And so it will take its turn right after my turn. And it's got, well, I guess you don't need to know the hit points. But basically, it's going to be like one of the hounds that I had summoned previously. Kind of one of those like wolfhound type things, wolf things. So I'm going to summon that.
Where are you going to put it at?
Let's put it right in north of Chancellor Ramsey, kind of adjacent to that alpha panther thing.
Okay. It just kind of pops up out of the air, out of your chest plate, kind of how it does.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. And then I think I'm going to kind of close in ranks so that way we're not separated and just move a little bit closer to Nari and that wolfhound thing. And that'll be my turn for now. I don't really have anything else I can do. The wolf thing, though, we're going to have that go ahead and make an attack against the alpha creature.
Okay.
So it rolled an 8 to hit.
That is a miss.
Okay. Bummer.
Okay. And that's your turn?
Yeah. Oh, would it get advantage on the attack because of pack tactics?
Does it have pack tactics?
It does have pack tactics.
Well, Roos is technically threatening this creature as well, so yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, let me just see if we can roll it again to see if anything else. An 11.
No, 11. No, that still does not hit.
Okay.
Okay, this thing is snarling and yipping at you and at Ramsey, trying to grab him and drag him away into the bushes.
Oh, I guess there's one other thing. I'm sorry, I'm taking forever on this turn, guys. My apologies.
That's fine.
Could I try talking to it?
Sure.
Just in the Sylvan Druidic language, I want to try and tell it there's no meal here. Just back off.
Okay. You hear it snarl at you, and what it kind of the impression that you get as it kind of swipes its claw at you, not as an attack, but just kind of like almost like a part of its communication with you is, I see one easy meal, but you're making it too difficult. Then are you going to try to persuade it or anything?
Yeah, I mean, let me try maybe an intimidation or something like that, if that's cool with you. I don't have great intimidation, but we can try it.
It's going to be a high difficulty.
Yeah, this probably won't work then, but we'll give it a shot. Yeah, I rolled a 9. Ebby rolled a 9.
You might want to go away somewhere else, please. That's kind of the intimidation. That's kind of how it.
Very non-committal.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not this guy. Hey.
If you want, Okay.
Oh, gee.
All right.
Please,
So
sir.
that leaves. That's Ebby's turn. And now from the bushes, you see not only were there these two on this side along with the alpha, but across the river, you see 3 more of these large red panthers come out of the bushes. And 2 of them come rushing across the river, kind of along the ford. A third one almost gets clear across, but he's still kind of in the water. But the one that Nari first saw and the one that Pine saw that were already on this side of the river, they both come rushing in towards the group. So Pine, you can make your reaction. Nari, you already used your reaction. So Pine, why don't you do your attack?
All right, Pine rolled a 21 to hit.
Okay, why don't you roll some damage then?
Okay, so I'm going to deal 14 piercing damage, and then I'm also going to use my Swordmaster's Fury. I like to think that the Swordmaster's Fury, for basically for every extra D8 of damage, it's almost like he does an extra cut, like an extra little swipe, because he's a quick, agile swordsman.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and roll another 2D8, because I'll do a first level spell. So that's another 7 radiant damage on top of that. So the total would be 21.
Okay, fantastic. All right. That was your reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And now so you're going to get attacked, Pine, and he comes charging you. He pounces at you, and he gets that's pretty good. He gets a 23 to hit you.
That definitely hits.
Okay, so the first thing he does is he attacks you with his claws, which is you take 7 damage, and I need you to make a strength check, a strength saving throw.
Oh, brutal. I got an 18, though, with a -1.
Fantastic. Well, you do not get knocked prone. All right. And then he doesn't get his second attack on you because you did not get knocked prone.
Oh, good.
Okay, now, let's see. All right. Ebby, the second one comes rushing between you and Nari, sees that you are the smaller prey, and leaps at you and does a pouncing attack against you. So, does a 16 hit you, Ebby?
Oh, yeah, that just does.
Okay. You take 6 damage, and I need a strength saving throw from you.
Okie dokie. Come on, big money. Ooh, an 18 as well.
Oh my gosh. All right. So you also do not get knocked prone, and he does not get to get a bite attack against you. Okay. That brings us back up to the top of the round. Now, Pine, it should be your turn. Pine, as you are fighting off these creatures here, you glance over to the side, kind of off to your right, where that first panther that you saw was, and you start to see almost like it looks like mist or smoke or something is kind of rising up out of the ground, and from behind a bush you see this creature come out of the bushes, and you and I already talked about what this creature is. Why don't you describe what you see, Pine?
So what this is a creature that is called an Alaton. It's basically, think of it kind of like an anime elk. So it's kind of got that same what do you call it, a mane, Jordan? The extra hair around the head and neck.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have any antlers. Instead, it has very long, almost elf-like ears that slope back, kind of like night elves from World of Warcraft, right? And then on the tip of its nose, these creatures, these Alatons, have almost like a rhinoceros horn. But this one in particular, the horn coming from it on the tip of its nose is straight, and it's like natural jagged crystal. Normally they come in colors from like gray, red, brown, depending on where they live. But this one is green, kind of blue and purple, almost like the colors of the Aurora Borealis. And I also should mention they have almost like a fox's tail. And these are creatures that can be tamed and can be ridden, but they're notoriously more difficult than something like a horse.
These would definitely be like an exotic mount, something that, either a general would ride or like a very rich merchant might have, or somebody it might have in like their menagerie or something like that.
Did that sound cool, guys? Does that sound like a cool animal?
Yeah.
It sounds rad.
Okay.
Yeah.
It did, but I'm still thinking about using an ultra ball to try catching it. So
Got to put it to sleep first.
As it steps out, Pine, you notice one more thing about this Eidolon. You see that on its back, it has like Aileton. Yes.
Because an étalon is French for a stallion.
Okay. This Aileton, as you glance over this Aileton, you see that strapped to its back, you see what looks like a very long sword is kind of wrapped around its hindquarters. It steps out of the bushes looking very regal, glances across the battlefield, and makes eye contact with you, Pine. As you make eye contact, you see a little twinkle in its eye, and you can swear that it winks at you. And now, Pine, go ahead. You have control of this Aileton. It is your Aileton's turn.
This it's going to use a trampling charge and come at the it's going to come at the red panther that came at me and attacked me. So let's see what it does. It's going to charge at it. It's going to make a hoof attack, and if it hits, then it'll have to make this red panther will have to make a strength check.
Perfect.
Okay, so does a 10 hit?
A 10 does not hit.
Well, hooray.
It looks pretty rad, though. All right. That brings us then to Pine. It is your turn now.
Okay, well, with this creature on the other side of the red panther, kind of behind it, Pine's going to continue attacking it. So I'll go ahead and make my first attack on this red panther, and I'm going to up that to a 23 with my disciplined focus, my targeted strike.
Perfect. That is a hit.
Okay, and then for the damage, it'll be another 14 damage.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm going to do one more Swordmaster's Fury at level 1.
Level 1?
That's another 10 damage on top of that.
Okay. As you go in for that second slice, you catch it right underneath the jaw, and you just manage to slit its throat. It tumbles down to the ground. It seems like this Aileton came out, and the red panther was distracted by it, and you managed to find an opening. So there is one of these red panthers that is now down.
Okay. So that was my first attack. I'm going to come over next to the alpha now. So I can be kind of, because of the positioning, I can be next to the alpha and next to the Aileton, correct?
Yes, you can.
Okay. All right. So I'll take my second attack against the alpha.
Okay.
And I'm going to, let's see. Okay. So does a 17 hit?
A 17 does hit, yes.
All right. So the damage is 9.
Okay.
I'm going to burn another. I'm going so fast. I'm going to burn another first level. Do another 2d8 damage.
Okay.
That's another 14 damage. So that is a total of 23.
Okay.
And then as my bonus action, I'm going to draw the sword from the back of this Aileton, and I'm just going to kind of, the at the end of Braveheart when William Wallace's friend just like chucks the claymore out into the field.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm just gonna like frisbee it out to the other side of the alpha, kind of like toss it over him, and as I toss it out there. Something just catches it out of the air and instantly goes in for a strike. If you look closely, this sword is an estoc, which Paul described earlier, which is basically like a great sword rapier. And if you look closely, you can see kind of almost an ethereal frock coat, officer's coat, and half cape behind this sword. this is my spiritual weapon. It's called Koenig's Estoc, and as I throw it, I say, "Field Marshal, sir, I ask your aid."
All right. Let the S-Stock make an attack.
The 15 hit
A 15 does hit.
for another 9 force damage.
9 force damage. This alpha is looking incredibly hurt. All right.
Okay,
Very good.
just so everybody knows that in those like reaction and in my one turn, I have burned through 5 of my 6 spell slots.
Wow.
So if it seems like I was doing a lot of damage and stuff, I can only do that once.
Oh man, that's awesome. All right, that brings us now to Roos. Roos, you've got a apple bottom in front of you. You've got some crazy floating sword across the way. You've got a weird Alaton creature, and you've got some big cats coming at you.
Roos is barely recognizing most of that's happening, and he's very concerned with his mark with Ramsey. So he's going to try his best to divert the attention of the alpha away from Ramsey as best he can, kind of step in between them. Is there any way that I could like shuffle Ramsey behind me and step in front?
So if you want to use your action to grab him and pull him behind you, you can do that. It's going to be a strength check to do it. Because right now the alpha is right up there, and it's been clawing at Applebottom. So,
okay,
yeah, it's gonna be hard to do.
No, I'll use my action to pull out my short sword and my offhand dagger.
Okay,
and I will take a strike with my short sword. I rolled an 18 to hit.
That hits.
And then 10 piercing damage and 5 precision damage.
So 15 total.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And then for my offhand weapon, my dagger, I rolled a 13 to hit.
13 does hit. How much damage?
Oh, with that one, just 3.
Just 3. Okay, this guy is in very bad shape.
And I want to try and like make as much noise and like divert as much attention as I can to try and, I don't know, get it so that it's not looking at Ramsey.
Oh, for sure. Well, to be fair, this alpha has definitely noticed the people who keep hitting it, as opposed to the easy meal on the ground. But it is now the alpha's turn. So we're going to see, I'm going to make a quick check to see if it is, how ready it is to die for this. It looks like what this thing is going to do is it is going to attempt to make a bite attack against Ramsey. Can he hit? Oh, gosh. He's too distracted from all these blows. So he tries to bite at Ramsey to drag him away. Ramsey manages to kind of roll out of the way. And then the alpha, sensing his ultimate destruction, decides to turn and run. So that means that a couple people can get attacks of opportunity against him if they want. That'd be Pine and Roos.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Can my pack animal?
Oh yeah, and the pack animal and the creature. So who wants to make their attack first? Okay, so it looks like Pine made his attack first. So we'll see if
somebody else can make an attack first. I did a lot of damage. I'll be the cleanup batter if we need to.
Roos got a 15 to hit with his short sword.
Okay, that hits. Let's see what damage you can do.
Now, since I already got sneak attack this round, I don't think I get it again.
You only get it once a round.
Yeah, so just 6 damage this time.
Okay, so that leads us to a total, if my math is correct, that is 74 total damage to the alpha. This alpha had 74 hit points. So this alpha is now dead. All right.
Can I have cut off one of his whiskers while I was
yeah, totally. I mean, that's how you kill him. that's how they go down. Awesome. Okay, that brings now the alpha is dead. That brings us to Nari. Nari, you've got an alpha, or you've got a red panther behind you, or to your left. And then you've got 3 more coming down the road across the ford at you.
Okay, I'm going to help my homeboy Ebby here and go after the one that's right next to us.
Okay.
With my axe. So I rolled a 22 to hit.
That definitely hits.
And I got 7 damage on that guy. And then I'm going to attack again.
Are you with your great axe or are you with a hand axe?
Great Axe. And then, yeah, I was going to attack again.
Perfect.
There you go. 24 to hit.
Oh, that hits.
And 15 damage.
Oh, man. Yeah, and just like that, this Red Panther is over half of his hit points are gone. Very good.
Wrecked.
Anything else you want to do, Nari?
I will just kind of move myself a little bit like in front of Ebby and put myself between him and the rest of the oncoming Panthers.
Like this way?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Nari, the human shield. All right, Ebby, you've got a very hurt Red Panther next to you and 3 more approaching from the north.
All right. I'm going to use... I'll start off with my bonus action to use Innervating Strike to kind of charge up the fighting baton.
Perfect.
And then I'll use my action to go ahead and have a swipe at that same panther that Nari was beating the tar out of. So let's go ahead and roll for that one. A 17 to hit.
That hits.
And for damage, 10 damage.
Okay. Yeah, very hurt. In fact, you hear like a bone crack in its leg, and it starts to like favor one of its front legs.
Very cool. And I'm also going to continue to yell, perhaps a little bit louder, to all the other ones, and in Sylvan, and say, "Leave now, or you will all die this day."
Okay. Why don't you make an intimidate check, and just make one check, and I'm going to make some saves, one of them with disadvantage.
Cool. Ebby rolled a 15.
Oh man, with that intimidate check, Pine's ready to retreat too.
Oh my gosh. Nice. Okay. You rolled a 15?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So very nice. Okay. And it's now the Red Panther's turn.
1 sec. I've got my pack animal that gets to
Oh yeah.
go right after me. Sorry.
No, that's all good. You do your thing, man.
So it will kind of bound in between where Applebottom is laying, I guess, and kind of come over this way and have an attack also on that same panther that I was fighting.
Okay.
So let me pull up his stats here, and we'll make an attack roll with advantage because of pack tactics. That's a 9. Wait, hold on. There we go. It rolled a 22 to hit.
That definitely hits.
Cool. And it does 11 damage.
Oh, man. Well, just as this Red Panther is about ready to turn and run, your summoned creature just clobbers it, and it goes down dead as well. That brings us now to the Red Panther's turn. What you see is there's 3 Red Panthers approaching you from across the ford. 2 are kind of in the front. 1 is still back in the water. The one in the water sees what just happened and hears you, Ebby, kind of snarl and growl at it, and it turns and runs back across the ford and up and over the bank. The 2 that are left, the one to the left comes rushing at Nari, and the one to the right, it takes off far to the right and disappears in the bushes off to the right. So Nari, you are going to get attacked. Oh, you got hit by a natural 20. This is a critical hit. Okay, so we are going to roll some damage. That will be 15 damage, and I need a strength saving throw, please.
Oh my goodness.
Difficulty 13.
Okay, I got 19.
Okay, well, you are not knocked prone, and he does not get a second bite attack against you. All
okay,
right.
15 damage.
Yeah, you got rocked.
Ouch.
All right, and that brings us back up to the top. We have the Aileton. It's the Aileton's turn.
Okay, the Aileton is going to go ahead and close in on this last remaining panther up there by Nari. So it's going to charge with the horn on its face, and it will. Let's see. It rolled a 9 to hit.
It does not hit. Does your Aileton have pack tactics?
No.
Okay. Well, the funny thing is these Red Panthers have pack tactics, and none of them were ever in the right position to actually ever get pack tactics against anybody. So anyway, well, there is one Red Panther left, and Pine, it is your turn.
Okay, Pine, I don't think can get to it. Let's see. I think that Pine is... no, Pine can get to it. As well as, I believe, Pine, the Kenig's Estok can also get to it.
Yes.
So, let's go ahead and have Kenig's Estok go first.
Okay.
From a bonus action. And it rolled a natural 1, so that will miss.
Okay.
But then Pine will take his first attack. It's a 23.
That hits.
For 10 damage.
Okay.
And then his second attack is a 24 to hit for 12 damage.
Oh my gosh. Nice. Okay. And just like that, this Red Panther is hurting as well. Okay.
That's my turn.
Roos.
Roos will step up to Applebottom and kneel down and say, well, good thing we survived this one. And that's it. That's my turn.
And you hear a
oh, nudge your head if you're dead.
With his one hand, tied down to his feet, you see one finger raise up. Can you guess which finger it was?
It's a thumb. It's a thumb saying, "Yeah, I'm
Give me
cool.
the thumbs up."
Still alive."
Did he mumble mango? Mango.
All right, Nari, you're up. You got this one last Red Panther right in front of you. It looks like it is rethinking its decision, but it's still right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for it with my axe. I got a 15 to hit.
That hits.
Nice. So I am going to do 6 damage.
Nice.
And then I'm going to swing for it again with the 17 to do 14 damage.
Oh, man. Jeez, you guys made really short work of these Red Panthers. All right, and just like that, this Panther goes down. Okay. We are going, unless somebody wants to chase down the two fleeing Red Panthers who are actually running in two different directions, we can leave initiative.
This sounds like a job for Wolf Ebby.
I might let this one go this time, guys. I don't know.
Oh, man. That's great. Okay. So, the battle is over. You have these large, basically leopard-sized cat creatures laying dead in the grass, 4 of them. What do you guys want to do?
Can we do any sort of like perception or investigation to see if they were possibly sent magically? Like I'm just a little worried that they conveniently showed up and tried to get our prisoner.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what, Nari? That's a great question. You already made a pretty good survival check. I'll let you do one more survival check, but some of the information you've already got from your first one.
Okay. 24.
Oh, fantastic. So what you know of Red Panthers, having grown up in the mountains, you know that they are, your typical predator. They'll go after the weak, the young, and it looked like a bound and gagged, man-sized treat was definitely the easiest target. And that's more than likely why they went for the chancellor. But what you also know with your 24 is they probably have some kind of a den around here. And Red Panthers are notorious for attacking like humanoids, people. So oftentimes, I don't know if you would have been a part of this, but you've probably heard stories about, hunting down Red Panthers in their den and finding like bodies and money and gear and that kind of stuff in their den.
That is tempting.
Okay, sounds like this was pretty standard.
Yeah, it sounds like it was just a pretty standard, a pack of cats trying to get some food in their bellies before winter sets in.
So do we want to see if they got any gold?
The only odd thing is the fact that they are this far out of the mountains. Usually they're up higher, and this is a little bit low for them to be normally.
Well, if Nari shared that information with Pine, I mean,
yeah.
Well, a cave full of potential resources on our journey. That sounds a little tempting, especially considering we've taken care of most of the pack.
Would I have an idea of how large, like, would this be about an average pack size?
It's actually, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 in an alpha. That's a pretty normal size. You'd usually expect anywhere between 5 and 8.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. No, that seems like it might be some good value.
In the wild, the animals would never pass up an easy meal.
If it's easy to, if we can track them back to their cave, then it might do us some good to find some additional loot.
Okay.
Pine will. So when Pine's spell, Kenig's Estok, ends, basically the apparition presents the sword back to Pine, and Pine takes it graciously.
Awesome. You can almost see, you can't make out features, but you can almost see like a silhouette, a little glowing nimbus where a head would be, and as it kind of bows its head to you.
And Pine would bow his head.
As it hands you the Estok hilt first.
Thank you. And then Pine will head over to the Aelaton and start doing basically like approaching it cautiously and attempting to, pet its, to pet its face and kind of look a little bit. The Estok was in a sheath strapped to this Aelaton. You said,
yeah, it was,
yeah.
And the belt that the sheath was attached to looks like it's very well made, hand stitched leather and everything. And it looks the belt is not obviously designed for the Aelaton. It's just kind of strapped around there. And as you kind of reach up and start examining the sheath, it actually just kind of comes off in your hand.
Okay. All right. Well, I will put that on, and I will carry this sword with me on my back. But I'm going to, Pine is going to be over there with the Aelaton, kind of just doing like the get to know the animal thing, like let it smell my hands and stuff, and just talking to it like you would, a pet.
It smells the blood, and it seems a little bit skittish at first. And when you first reach for its nose, it kind of rears its head back, and then it kind of sniffs your hand, and then it nuzzles your hand a little bit, and you guys are making friends.
Yeah, I speak to it in Menorese because that's my experience with horses and other mounts. So I kind of speak to it in Menorese.
Awesome.
While he's doing that, Ebby is also going to approach and speak to the Aelaton in Sylvan and say, "He's good. He is a friend." And just kind of trying to like basically give the help action to whatever Pine is trying to do right now.
Fantastic. Matt, what does an Aelaton sound like? Give us your best Aelaton impression.
So Jordan, I know that you hunt. Do you by any chance have an elk call handy?
not handy, no. And I would be worried I would wake up my whole house.
But it's basically kind of that almost squeal howl, like when it. But other than that, it kind of just does some soft grunts.
All right. So it kind of lets out that squeal, that high pitched kind of that the elk horn sound. And Ebby, you recognize. Ebby, why don't you make an insight check?
Sure.
And I'm going to tell you, Nari, as well, with that 24 survival check, you have no problem figuring out where the alpha came from if you wanted to track back to its den.
Yeah, no, that seems like that would be a good place to start.
Okay.
Ebby got an 18 on his insight check.
Okay, so as you hear this bugle, this horn call from this Aelaton, you recognize this is you've seen an Aelaton around, never really close like this. You've heard that they're relatively intelligent. This one, though, just you looking in its eyes, it seems more intelligent than it should, and the call that you hear, it almost sounds like it's saying, "I know this one," meaning Pine. This one is mine.
I think I'll respond to it and say, "Indeed, and he is a good one. Thank you for your assistance in the fight."
And it tosses its head as if to say, "Yes, And let's have another bugle call. All right. So Nari's got the trail back to the den. Roos, what are you doing? You still just harassing Ramsey?
No, I want to make sure that he's okay, that he's not going to die. But other than that, just kind of like teasing him and like, well, that was a close one. We had a bunch of these Red Panthers on us, but if we didn't kill you, then they might have. So.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do, Roos. Just as you're checking him out, why don't you make a medicine check? Because he did get attacked.
Roos got a 20 on a medicine check.
Nice, a dirty 20. As you're kind of looking him over, you can see that he did take, he did get scratched a little bit. There were a couple points where, like, you can see the teeth marks in his jacket. And as you're looking, you're not quite sure, but you think that there should probably be more damage to him than there is. But you're not quite sure. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he's more resilient than you thought. I mean, you did just fight him yesterday, but he's also exhausted. So
okay. Well, I'll pull out my repair crystal since he's wearing my clothes. And so while I'm kind of talking to him and teasing him, I am using this crystal to kind of like mend where the Panthers had cut the clothes. So they're back in good order.
Perfect. All right. And Nari, you're kind of following the trail of this alpha, probably not going too far, I would assume, until everyone else is ready to follow you. Or are you going at it alone?
No, yeah, just kind of getting the general direction and seeing where it came from.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like it came from a little bit further east through the bushes. It should be fairly easy to track. These are big creatures. They rely on stealth, not so much moving quietly, but more like lying in wait, right? So when they move, they're not necessarily trying to move quietly. They kind of wait for things to approach them, and then they come crashing through the bushes. So it shouldn't be too bad of a trail to follow. So when everybody's ready to follow, you guys can go check out the den.
Yes, we should probably go quickly though before the storm hits.
Yes, move while the iron is hot, right?
I've decided I'm going to call this one Crumbles. It's a good name.
It is a good name.
So, Pine, did you summon this Aelaton somehow, or bring it, conjure it here?
I had a very strange experience this morning. While we were eating breakfast, I dozed. I thought I was tired, but I think it was more than that. I had a vision of a former commanding officer and friend. He told me that he would continue to help me in the fight, and I believe this was his sword. Of that I'm certain. But I believe he sent this magnificent beast. That's the Harry Potter movies, huh? Magnificent Beasts?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he sent this amazing beast to help us.
That's great. You filter yourself because you accidentally quoted said the name of a book. Awesome.
Yes, I believe he sent it to help us.
Well, we're always grateful for the help, no?
Yeah.
Shall we be on our way then?
Yes, come, Crumbles, come on. And by the way, thank you. A friend of mine, Aaron, he had a chubby pony in one of the games that I played with him where he named it Crumbles, and I've loved that name for a mount ever since. So this Aelaton's name will be Crumbles.
Fantastic. As you actually go to follow Nari, Crumbles actually kind of dips a shoulder down for you to get on if you want to.
Oh, hell yeah.
Pine gets up on this Aelaton. Definitely a mount for a lieutenant general. All right. Nari, you start moving through the bushes and through the trees over some little rises. You don't have to go very far, maybe just about 6 or 7 minutes before you come around a corner and you see that there is a small cave. When I say small, I mean shallow. It's large enough for you to walk in and only have to duck a little bit. And for you, that's saying something. It is very dark inside, though.
I have a red candle.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm going to wait till everyone's here and ask for a light because I don't want to walk in blind.
Okay. Awesome. So you're gonna use your red candle, Pine?
I'm gonna pull out the red candle. I love it.
Nice.
A quick question, Paul. How far away was the cave? Is it within an hour journey from where we are here?
6 minutes, 6 or 7 minutes is all.
Oh, okay.
Great. Okay,
Yeah, you guys didn't have to go very far at all. It's almost like these creatures had set up here at the ford, knowing that things would have to cross here, so it was probably a good place to catch prey.
Cool. Okay.
All right, you pull out your candle, your red candle. What are you gonna do with it? I know it does a couple different things.
I'll just magically light it, and then I'll set it floating in the air.
Okay.
Does it have a red light? Or is it just a regular flame?
It's a regular flame.
Okay.
But were you going to tell me I didn't have to put on the red light?
I was just about to sing the song. I was like seconds from busting it out.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. All right, as the candle lights up,
dress tonight.
as the candle lights up the area, you can see that the den, this cave, is not very deep. It's probably only goes back about 20 feet. You can see that they're lying around. You see bones of different creatures. You see that there's some piles of refuse. So why don't you guys make like a group investigation check? One person make it with advantage, and then we'll see what you guys manage to find.
Not me.
Not me.
Roos got a 24 on investigation.
Nice.
Fantastic.
We're going to be so rich.
As you guys are looking through this cave, you see that there's piles of bones and things. There's also like inorganic material as well in there. It's fairly easy to find it. The light kind of reflects off of certain things. You do find like a pouch, a couple of different pouches actually in different places. And so total between all of the different pouches that you find like 55 gold pieces worth of gems, not crystals, but gems. And then you find another, let's see here. You find another, between all of this, you find 35 gold pieces and 65 silver pieces. Do you guys want the copper pieces?
Yeah.
Heck yeah, that buys us beer.
Yeah, Roos will take copper.
I mean, money is money.
All right, you find 93 copper pieces. The other thing that you find as you're searching through, you find that there is definitely some human remains in here. Most of them are just travelers. They just wearing like warm weather clothing. You find a couple staves, like walking sticks. But Nari, as you're digging through, you find what must be a warrior of some kind, because they are wearing chainmail. And as the light reflects off of this chainmail, it looks a little different than your chainmail. Your chainmail is all beat up and kind of dull, and the light reflects off this chainmail, and it is quite bright and shiny, even in this cave.
Damn, check out this drip.
All right. So this figure that has this chainmail on, I mean, it's been here a while. The flesh is all gone off of the body. The head has been, basically severed from the body. But this chainmail is still pristine. And also there's a sword, like a long sword at the waist, and off in the corner you do find like a wooden shield. And the wooden shield looks like it's all scratched up.
Well, I will for sure take that armor. Can I tell what it does?
As you start taking the armor off of this dead body, why don't you make a perception check? Very, very low difficulty.
If it's anything special. All right, 11.
As you're pulling this armor off, it doesn't seem quite right. It seems lighter than it should. And your brain instantly clicks mithril. You have now in your hands mithril chainmail.
Sweet. Well, I would love to put that baby on.
Okay.
So
So
I think there's more to this hobbit than meets the eye.
Oh my gosh. Did that just happen? No, his was just a chain shirt. It's not the same thing at all. It's totally different. Oh my gosh, yes, there is mithril chainmail. Oh gosh, well, I guess you guys now know where I get all my inspiration. Yeah, so you find this mithril chainmail. You also, there's a longsword and a shield as well. Other than that, the room is the den is pretty much empty of anything usable. So that's what you guys managed to find.
So did the math while you were talking on the gold, and so Russell kind of divided up. One person gets 8 gold, then the other 3 get 9, and we can divide that out. One person
I'll take the 8. That's
Okay.
fine.
There's 3 people that will get 16 silver, and 1 will get 17.
Abby gets
And
17.
Okay.
There you go.
And then for the copper, it's 23 apiece, and then 1 person gets 24.
Let's give Abby the 24 as well, just to help make up for that one goal he didn't get.
There we go. That seems fair.
Oh, guys. Oh. I have no idea what I'll use this for, but I am so grateful. Next round's on me.
Awesome. All right, you guys kind of finish up in the den. We'll say you guys you clean up, find anything of value, and then head back to the ford. Is there anything else you guys wanted to do before you guys go across the ford?
Nari, is this red panther good eating?
You know, that all depends on your perspective, and I think you should try everything once.
All right. Pine will basically just like cut off one of the hind legs of one of these red panthers and just kind of take it with him.
Just drape it across Crumble's back.
Oh, Crumbles is far too beautiful to be sullied by that much blood.
How are we doing on that storm that's across the way?
It's coming in. It's coming in. It looks like probably within the next hour it's going to start raining on you. And it looks like just from the clouds in the sky, it might not stop anytime soon. So you guys managed to grab this hind leg of this red panther, all this other gear that you found in their den, and wade across through the ford as you guys gather your bearings and then start heading south along the other side of the river. About an hour later, the rain starts and it starts to pour, and it starts pouring really hard. The ground becomes very marshy. The visibility becomes very, very low, and you guys are miserable. That is where we will end for tonight. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us tonight as we continue on with the Crystal Codex. Hopefully you guys had a great time. If you like what you're hearing, go ahead and tweet about us. You can tweet at us at 12-sided guys. That's 12-sided guys. Let us know what you think. Also, hey, if anybody has like some, what's the word I'm looking for? Fan art. We would love to see what you guys think of like an Alaton or of any of the characters, any of the NPCs you guys have met. We'd love to see some of your
unicorn.
Fan art. The sexy unicorn.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So anyways, tweet about us. Let us send
pics.
How did you know that's where I was going? Yeah. Anyway, hey, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. Other than that, have a great night. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Mango.
Mango.
Have a great time.